Hey, Becca here. I wanted to talk to you guys today about my slight obsession, which is the balance of duality. I know, right? Says everybody all the time. But I cannot help but see the world through that lens. And the more stuff keeps unfolding in our world today, the more I see it. And what do I mean by the balance of duality? The way that I learned it was through this idea of masculine and feminine principles. But if you're not familiar with those terms, you might hear that and hear gender, and it has nothing to do with gender. It's talking about the two energies, the complementary energies that exist in most things, and most certainly exist within humans. You've probably heard the terms yin and yang. Well, that's another way of speaking about this. The yin and the yang energy is conversely the female and the masculine energy, or principles. Those words are used interchangeably as well. But for the sake of understanding it through like a Western culture lens, perhaps we could talk about what's like I call the being energy versus the doing energy. The being energy would be more of the yin or the feminine, and the doing energy would be more of the yang or the masculine energy. And the idea is that we have these complementary energies within us, and in a perfect situation, they're meant to work together. The feminine or the being energy is that part of us that is far more intuitive and internal. It's not active, so it's much more of a resting energy, and it is in an ideal world where our intuition comes from, and it's where our wisdom comes from. We don't have to do anything to get intuition, it just bubbles up. And it usually bubbles up when we're being quiet or we're resting or we're meditating if we have the time to do that. So it's very much about reception. We receive information. The masculine or the yang or the doing energy complements that with taking action once we have our wisdom. So the feminine informs and the masculine then takes the information and manifests it in the world. So it's a doing, it's a behavior, it's very outward, it's very manifest destiny. And it's all of the energies that we see that talk in any way, shape, or form about achievement, about accomplishment, about defending. It's very, again, like an outward expression where we go out and we do something about it. It's the fix-it energy. And I wrote a blog about it, and you can go on my website and read it, where I've tried to get a list of these complementary ways in which masculine, feminine, or yang or yin energy shows up. So the examples I'm giving you are not exhaustive, but the reason why I'm obsessed with it is because I'm a firm believer that it is the imbalance that we see in our culture, and it's the imbalance we see in our world. And if you haven't been watching, our world is kind of messy right now. Kind of is an understatement. And while I don't claim to have all the answers, God knows. What I do know, with every soul, every cell in my body, every ounce of my soul, is that balancing this energy in all of us. So it's not about women, it's not about men, it's not about anyone gender nonconform. It is about all of us finding the balance that works for us, but understanding that there is that balance and that we need that balance. The world is severely lacking its feminine energy because we were raised in a world, most of Western world was raised in a world that has been influenced largely through a patriarchal structure. And again, the patriarchy is not about men, it's about a system that robs us of our ability to access our more feminine energies in favor of our masculine energies, and or allows us, basically tells us we should be doing and accomplishing and achieving, again, the doing energy, over being curious, playing, sitting, relaxing, receiving. One is not better than the other here. Hear me out. One is just necessary to balance the other. And we've really lost sight of that in our grind culture today. And so I am spending lots of time trying to just bring awareness to this. It is how I have kind of the lens through which I've looked at my therapy work for many, many years. And I continue to look through that lens as I see an opportunity for healing, both on the individual level and on the bigger meta level, because the world needs the world needs to find its balance point again and work together. You know, the polarization that we see in our world, everybody's talking about how polarized we are as a country, in my opinion, is a physical manifestation of this duality, this split that I'm talking about. Anyway, so I could and will get off on a soapbox, so I'm going to rein it in for the sake of brevity, but I just encourage you to think about which energies do you give yourself permission to express, which energies do you think make you good, and which ones do you want to squelch, which ones do you want to hide, which ones are you embarrassed about or feel shame about. We all have all of them. We really, really do. Babies are born into this world with access to anger and deep sadness. They have access to great excitement and incredible rage and frustration and, you know, all the feelings, or all the feels, as the kids say. So not one of us is born without access to all of our being and doing energy, and we are just taught not to access that. And I have some blogs about that as well. So I am going to bring it to a close and just encourage you to be thinking about where the balance is for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I will talk to you guys soon.